It's a nice foot trail behind this park and ride, but it's usually a dump here. People park here to get drunk. There's an abandoned baby crib. Not crib, what do you call it? Stroller. I don't know what's in that bag. I hope it's not a baby. I'm not even going to look. If I don't know, then I don't know. I've stepped in human excrement coming down here. People abandon their underpants and they wipe their asses on their socks. And just, here, stuff, crust, melty, whatever. As trashy as it looks, it's actually quite peaceful back here. That's fine, because I am the scariest thing in these woods. Doesn't even go back that far. You can hear the cars in the background. There's piles of something. I think it's poop. Let's see, rocks. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. It's all over the place. I think it's poop. Maybe some moles have pushed this stuff up. Huh. I come back here, I found mushrooms and pine sap, which is kind of like a ghost pipe, but it has 3 flower heads instead of just 1 per stem. It's 3. First time I ever saw that. I don't know why it's called pine sap. Yeah, it grows under pines. I know, there's lots of hemlock and birch. Some pines here too. Mushroom eating log. Oh yeah, back here too, there's a chimney, I think. Just a random spot. I wonder if I can find it. I don't remember which side it's on. All kinds of crud back here. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Here's one of those containers you put on top of your car to like lug stuff. Yeah, transport container. I don't know how a car got back here. Oh, there's the chimney too. See that? One time after work, I went for a walk back here, and apparently the police were looking for some fugitive. Some guy had dumped his car, and he was bleeding, he was run off. And they saw me walking down here, fully kitted out. I got my backpack, flashlight, my stick, and my sidearm, and the cop was startled. But he wasn't abusive. He politely says, "Look, I can't make you go, but it'd be easier to find who we're looking for if you get out of here." All right, I moved on. I feel like arguing with him. I feel like having a pissing match with him, especially because he could try to make it look like I assaulted him or something. I know, between the garbage pile you saw at the top and the story about the bleeding guy, you think this was like, I don't know, Oakland, California or something. But it's not. It's just a small town, New Hampshire. I'll tell you that New Hampshire, white bread suburbia, it's not a fortress of virtue. It is a place where some troubled people use their money to insulate themselves from the world around them. We have a pretty large police force in this town. I think most of the crime is like DWIs and like domestic violence. It's not a heck of a lot of actual public street crime. Alright, I'm going to go off to the side here. I've explored this quite a bit in the past. I like this side. Really nice day to get up in the 60s. It's been just snowy and cold and damp for the last month or so. Alright. Got a place to sit, some rocks over here. Oh, yeah, it's nice. Probably gonna get ticks on me. That's okay. I'll just brush them off. Pick them off before they give me a disease. I can talk about some stuff now. You've seen a little bit of where I live. All right, pause for a second, catch my breath. I had so many things I want to talk about. Now that I'm out here, I can't seem to remember all of them, or even find the words to talk about the ones I can remember. But I did go to that restaurant today in town, and it's under new management. Unfortunately, they're closed. I was terrified. I was going to go in there and just make a pitch, probably a really lousy one, to have them buy karaoke. And so I have to wait now. Like, I have to wait till tomorrow. Like, I want to get it over with. Like I said in my previous video, like, I need to build up this list of stuff. But also, I realized, since I don't want to work full-time night shift come October, like, trying to find what other entrepreneurial things I could do, and lawn care is one of them. So put together an ad for that, and we do some just simple lawn care. I don't know if there's any takers. I mean, there's that thing about price. If you don't charge enough, people feel like they're not getting the value. It's really weird. Like, I haven't had this conversation about karaoke, but like, I don't know what the going rate is where I am, because people don't want to talk about it because they don't want you to undercut them. And so, like, I have a price. It's probably cheaper than everyone else charges. And so if I go in to sell and they're used to paying something else, like, they're probably thinking, like, this guy can't be very good if he's not charging very much. I don't want to buy it. What's the point? I'm just offering, like, a good value. Like, I do a competent job running the show. I run a basic, clean show, like I've talked about in the previous video. I just, I'm willing to do it for less. And, like, every other service, I remember when I was working as an exterminator, we had this, my employer took care of our re-education credits, and so we have people come and teach about, the new pesticides have come out and trapping techniques, whatever. It's general fucking education, right? You had to get so many credits to renew your license. And the nice thing about my employer, for whatever thing I might gripe about in the future, they took care of that. We just had to show up for work. Like, hey, today nobody's going out in the field. We're just gonna be in the office, and we're gonna do our credits. And so they come, bring in some very knowledgeable people to talk at us, and we got our credits for it. We sign off the paper, and bam, we're done. One of the things people talked about is charging more. That if you don't charge enough, then people aren't going to take you seriously. You got to find some way to keep prices up, which I thought was really strange. Like, people don't think they're getting a value, but like you go in with, say you're willing to do a building, I don't know, whatever the service is, just general pest control for $80 a week, say it's an industrial facility, and then someone else comes in for $200 and says, well, why I see only 80, why are you 200? And you say, well, because we're better. But, like, if you know how to deal with bugs, then it's really just a question of your overhead, in my opinion. Yeah, some people are fly-by-night, and they apply pesticides illegally, and they do some shady shit they shouldn't do. But on the other hand, like, some places don't have a lot of overhead. Like, if you're a self-employed exterminator, then you can do it a lot cheaper than any other commercial place, because they have to pay their support staff. They have to pay all this extra insurance money for all the other staff they have. They have all these vehicles to maintain. But if you're just maintaining one vehicle and one license, then you could probably afford to charge a lot less. Even though the large places have the advantage in terms of volume, like if you have 20 people out every summer, every day, doing perimeter sprays, knocking off 15 of those a day, then you're pulling some cash, right? You're pulling a lot of cash, as opposed to one person who can only do so much. I mean, so much of selling is perception. Like, you go to a car dealership. There's an archetype, right? We go in, you have this guy selling. He's got gel in his hair. He's got a striped shirt. He's got a flashy watch. Doesn't mean it's an expensive watch. I'm not talking about brand, Rolex or whatever. I'm talking about just, it's a flashy watch. It shines. You notice it. Like, man, this guy's doing really good. Look, he's got flashy clothes. His hair is full of goo. Like, this is great. And it makes it look like he knows more. So therefore, like, you can trust him to sell you something. But like, what he's not selling you is the car. He's selling you the sale, and the car comes with it. And I don't have the receipts, but I remember online chat forum. I think it was. It might have been Stuff Fundies, like, where but correct me, I could be wrong. Where someone's talking about door-to-door Bible salesmen, and you were commenting on that you make sure you drive a big flashy car because more people will buy Bibles if it looks like you're getting rich selling Bibles, as opposed to driving like an economy car. And it may be true. It may be the fact that you're wearing an expensive suit and you have an expensive watch and you have an expensive car, and people are like, man, this guy's really successful. He must be doing something important. Yeah, I'm going to buy that stuff. It must be important. Well, like, it's just a Bible. It's like you're circumventing the rational faculties, if anyone has them. And I don't think some people don't. I mean, sure, they might pull out it's in a toolbox somewhere. Like, hey, I got to pull out my reason when I'm doing my trade. Maybe someone's a plumber. Maybe someone's a programmer. Maybe someone's a lawyer. But when they're not working, they put away their rational faculties and they go on just emotion and instinct. And so all these sales techniques, look, it's expensive because it's better. And I'm well dressed, so therefore I'm obviously a successful salesperson who knows what he's doing. You can trust me, and so on. I mean, that's bullshit I can see through. But maybe it's because the rational part of my mind is always engaged, and the non-rational part, I mean, it's there, but it's definitely not as developed. And I find a hard time taking it seriously, even though quite often I have an instinct that feels something, but it's irrational, so I just cast it aside, and it turns out the instinct was correct. And so, like, yeah, I'm going to go sell karaoke, but pretty much, like, I'm just going to say, what my pitch be? Hi, I'm Steve. Nice to meet you. What can I do for you, Steve? Well, I see you just opened a new restaurant. I'd like to offer to do karaoke here. I think it'd be good for business. He says, well, what do you charge? He says, well, I charge this much per hour, plus one beer. See, I can't do it unless they're there. But that's pretty much my pitch. I'd say if they ask me if there's anything special, like, well, I have a huge catalog. I have over 100,000 songs. I also have a subscription to Carafun, so what I don't have on hand, I can stream. As long as you have Wi-Fi. I run a positive, upbeat show. I help people sound good, and I give encouragement. And I have a following of people who come here just to hear me do my show, and I do have some people who like me. I don't know why, but they do. And I mean, I don't know how the conversation is going to play out. Like, my mind thinks of scenarios, but every conversation is organic, and apparently I'm not. Apparently I'm a computer or something. But, like, I'm not going to go in, like, gelling my hair and, I don't know, a DJ. So, what? A pointy-collared black satin shirt and grease in my hair, except I don't have hair. Grease in my beard and a flashy watch and a bounce in my step and a fucking douchebag earring. I don't know, like... I mean, I could try that, but I think it looks fucking ridiculous, and it doesn't change anything. What do I wear? I wear whatever my casual clothes are when I do shows. If it's summertime or the weather's warm, I wear like shorts or a t-shirt. And when I was thinner, I wore a kilt, but I got fat, so when I lose the weight, I can go back to wearing my kilts again. But like, that's it. Yeah, I did a wedding reception where I had my kilt and a nice. I know the shirt. It's like a shirt that goes with a kilt that you have like a string through the V-neck, and you lace it up. It's kind of fancy. And I know someone said that, hey, we're gonna do some Scottish dances. I'm like, shit, I should probably learn some Scottish dances. So I just wear casual clothes. It's not a formal job, and I don't dress formal. I'm the whole fucking flashy douchebag vibe. And if I did that, I could probably charge more, and people might take me more seriously. Like, I could probably charge twice what I charge, and be like, "Wow, look at this guy! He's got the fancy pointy collared satin shirt and in the douchebag earring, and he bounces when he walks, and he's got gel in his beard. Oh, yeah, salesmanship. I find that the best salesmen often aren't selling something very compelling. So what they sell you is the sale itself, and then the object comes with it, or the service comes with it. I mean, you could have a compelling sale for a good item, but like you look at used car salesmen, like how do they even make money? Especially if they're selling stuff with like the check engine light's going to come on as soon as you walk off the parking lot. Or excuse me, as soon as you drive off the parking lot. Like, how can you do that with a straight face and be so freaking charming? Be so manipulative. How can you live with yourself? Now, I'm not impugning all used car salesmen. I mean, I bought a used car. I bought it. The last couple cars have been used. I bought a used car from a major place in the state, and I knew what I wanted. I saw it posted online, so I went in like, I want to buy this car. We took it out. We took it for a test drive. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I want it. So, of course, it was a different situation, right? It wasn't like I was dealing with some seedy guy who, for some reason, always seemed to get irritated when I go in and say, I want a manual transmission. Like, they get angry. They get clearly agitated, if not angry, because I want a manual transmission. Like, what's so offensive about it? Do you have manual transmission on the lot? Then let's go. Let's go check it out. All right. So I guess that's my long-winded diatribe on selling and salesmanship. I'll go back to that restaurant tomorrow and give it a shot. Maybe they just closed on Mondays. All right, thank you for listening. And then I got upset again and needed to let loose. It's like I got more to talk about selling. I'm in a bad mood, so I'm just going to let it out, because otherwise I'm just going to talk to myself and have nothing to show for it. So, something that really frosts my ass is people who need to manipulate you on a psychological level and won't just have a rational conversation. So, let me lead into this. So right after high school, I really had no ambition for college. I hated high school. I hated academia. I did really well in high school as long as I was interested, but I realized that most of it was just busy work. It really was. It was just busy work. Like, I stopped taking accelerated level classes. I just took the lowest level thing I could find and just kind of tried to glide my way through, because I was miserable. I mean, socially miserable. Middle school was horrible. Early high school was horrible. You know, the violence, getting beat up, harassed, just miserable. And on top of that, you have the bullshit of the busy work, meaningless busy work, endless, meaningless. Oh, just, all right, we'll move on. So I didn't want more of that. I didn't want to go to college, and people tell me, oh, it's different because people want to be there. You'll love it. No, I didn't love it. I had friends who went, and I'd visit them, and like, toxic environment. It really was just terribly. I can't believe any sane man would want to go to university. I mean, if it worked out for you, that's great, but it's terrible. So I just took a job, data entry, right up my alley. I was really great at keyboarding. You know, I'm like a lot smarter than just typing. I was amazing keyboarding skills. I had great accuracy, very fast. So I got a job as data entry person at a health insurance company, typing in data for medical claims. And what they would do, they would scan them with a copy machine, and then it'd turn into a JPEG file or something. And then they'd batch it up, and then I'd load up batches of them and type them from the screen into the computer, and that's how they would process them. This is before like things were just transmitted across the internet. They got sent by mail or by fax and then scanned in. It didn't pay much. I'd start at like, just over $8 an hour. This was 1999. And I was doing it, and I didn't have many expenses living at home at the time, and driving the car that my parents let me have, old used car. But you know what, it worked. And I remember the car was wearing out, so I had to buy another car. And I remember talking to my dad, and we looked at some cars together. He helped me go shop for cars. He's trying to be a guide in purchasing my first new car. And so I was looking at either a sedan, like a Ford Escort, just a simple entry-level, no frills, manual transmission. I liked manual transmission. I was learned on it, so there we go. Or I could have got, at the time, they had the Kia Sportage, which is a lot more expensive, and the gas mileage sucked. I mean, I was like, yeah, but you're a lot safer in a collision. I'm like, oh, maybe I would have been. So, but look at the cost of running this thing. He says, well, you just have to earn more money then. And then I noticed that my dad would talk about me taking on more expenses. And then, well, I guess you have to get more money. And what he wanted me to do, he really wanted me to do is to try to find a career. If I wasn't going to go to college, then find some way to make more than, the $8 an hour. But he couldn't tell me directly. He had to try to manipulate me with, be safer in a collision. And, well, I guess you have to earn more money if you want to have this safe car to drive to work and so on and so forth. I hate it when people do that. I really do. Just tell me. You can have a frank conversation that says, hey, look, I appreciate this is like you have your entry-level job. It's your first full-time job. Life is extremely expensive. It's nice to have options and just talk about it. Like Bill Cosby did a good one on his show, on the Cosby Show. When he got with Theo, he's like, I just want to be a normal guy. I want to just drive a bus or something. And so he played in the Monopoly game with them. It's like, this is the cost of rent. This is the taxes. This is the rent. This is the cost of clothes and so on. He's like, and then Theo finds out he doesn't have enough money to survive if he does one of these jobs. He's like, that's what happens to normal people. He's like, he wasn't disparaging doing these, ordinary jobs, but if you want to have options in life, then you have to make more money. And I understand. My dad, he beat around the bush like, money buys justice. Like if you want a lawyer, you need money. But it wasn't in the context of these are reasons why you want to find a way to earn more money. It was the subtle manipulation of, hey, take on these additional expenses, and then that will be your incentive indirectly to go earn more money. And that's just one example amongst many where people... So I had another friend, so he didn't like my long hair. I had long hair in high school. And I was out of school for a few months because of my Tourette's. Tourette's got really bad, and I was on a bunch of medicine to treat it, but the tics got worse, and I got so non-functional because I was so drugged up, I was out of school for a few months. And I remember I had a friend say, maybe it's your hair. Like, what do you mean? He's like, your hair is making you twitch. Which is was absurd. There's no neurological connection, but he says, well, you don't know until you try. Maybe you should cut your hair and you won't twitch. Now, what he's trying to do is, he was using the fact that my tics were bothering me to try to get me to cut my hair, because he didn't like my long hair. He preferred me to not have long hair. People often seem to use a proxy. Instead of talking about the thing directly, they want to use a proxy to try to affect the thing. And it's dishonest. It's dishonest as hell, and that's what bothers me so much. I don't know why I can't just say what you mean. I do. And it goes right into selling, right? You're manipulating people on a psychological level, on an indirect level, trying to steer them into doing what you want them to do, which is to buy the car or buy whatever you're selling. Buy the Bible if you're a door-to-door Bible salesman. Do they even have those anymore? And I see it as circumventing somebody's free will. If you're pushing their buttons to try to do a thing, but not engaging them rationally, it's kind of like a psychological form of rape. It's not physical rape. You're not actually penetrating somebody, but you are circumventing their ability to say no by subtly pushing their emotional buttons, by leading them by misdirection towards the path you want them to take. And I have no problem with that sort of misdirection in in combat, in an emergency. You know, if you're playing Stratego, that's a bluffing game. There's all kinds of, you know, misdirection. You know, or if you're playing poker or whatever other kind of consensual activity that has the misdirection. But I do think that if you want somebody to do something, then just be direct. And you may be less effective, but at least you're allowing their intellect a chance to engage. Remember when I first got into karaoke, and this was just after the first restaurant closed. And someone in my life told me, "Oh, you should go to every restaurant. You have McDonald's in your town? You should go there. They might just hire you." I'm like, then McDonald's isn't going to hire karaoke. They're a quick in and out. That's it. You go in, grab your burger, you sit for 15 minutes, you eat it, and you leave. They're not going to do karaoke. You don't know until you try. I'm like, what the fuck? And I get what the person's trying to do is get me to just go out and scattershot everybody. It doesn't matter if it makes sense, because amidst all the nonsense, there may be something that's worthwhile in there. Oh, you have a parent, you express some self-doubt growing up, and your parent says, you can do anything you put your mind to. Even though it's just not true. You know, the truth of it is, you're probably likely to succeed in things which you have an aptitude if you apply yourself. It's not anything. I mean, to be blunt, if you don't have the aptitude, odds are you're going to fail. Doesn't mean you will fail. I mean, you know, whatever. Einstein was a math nerd who taught himself how to paint competently, but he wasn't an artist. Look here, someone had a fire back here once upon a time. That's cool. All right, I think that's all the bashing of salesmanship I'm going to do. I'm all out of stones to throw. And mind you, I don't hate the characters involved. It's a long time ago. I didn't even understand what I was dealing with until much later, and I thought back on it. Oh, which brings me to one other point. If anyone says never dwell on the past, it's bullshit. There's so much to learn from the past when you reanalyze it. There really is. There are things you didn't realize was going on when you think back on the information, think back on the experiences. You find out there's a lot to learn from the past that you may not have caught the first time around. All right, that's it. See what else I can get to get hate clicks on my account. See the chemtrails? All right. Have a nice day.